Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and we are live. I'm back in studio and here with Louis Lecca of Nerd Report, and we've all been following this OceanGate story. We've been compiling all the information that we have up to date. What's going on? New video tour of the submarine. Who's missing? Why were they there in the first place? All the information. We just had the Coast Guard give a conversation as well. And the latest update, very scary, is that these 5 passengers, including the CEO of OceanGate, the person who created this submarine has about 40 hours of air left. Based on their estimations of what they know, how much they had, and how this is working, that's a big if. A lot of estimations here, because this submarine that was carrying 4 passengers was going down to the Titanic wreckage site. Now, this is a tourist venue. Let's call it what it is. They call themselves Research, and they brought in these customers in who paid $250,000 a seat to go down in this submersive. They went down there at this cost for $250 each, and now they were going to go down and see this wreckage, and the submarine has gone, and no one can find it. Now, Louis, this is complicated, and I got a lot of thoughts, because it's like, of course, I hope they find them. I feel for the families here. One of the guys was some Pakistani big businessman, popular guy. He brought his 19-year-old son with him. My heart goes to that. It breaks my heart. I'm just frustrated, guys. I'm frustrated with this story because I'm a realist, right? I'm going to give you as much as we got here, but this is like dropping your keys in the ocean and thinking you're going to find them. We don't have the science yet to really go and rescue people like this. Doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Don't get me wrong, but this is a very frustrating thing because it's like everyone's flipping out. Well, go get him. Go get. We can. What are we going to call James Cameron? He's like the only one who has one of these ships, and it took him like 2 days to get down to the depths that we're talking about here. So this is scary, unprecedented stuff that we're just not accustomed to. And I'm just frustrated because the outfit behind it, anybody who was doing any lick of research should have known better before they signed up for this nonsense. Now, a lot of clips have come in. Before we get to some of these updates and whatnot, I want to play this clip of, here he is, the CEO is apparently down there talking about this Titan submarine.
I'm the CEO and founder of OceanGate. Let's take a look at Titan. So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in, turn up the music, and it's very popular.
Now this is just really depressing and morbid to watch now. Now he's really, the one window, barely can see out of it, next to the toilet hole for the 5 people.
We have our control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens.
That Logitech controller, mind you, has Twitter in an uproar. This is a $25 PlayStation remote by Logitech. I mean, I'm sorry, that sounds cool and all if you're building a man cave, but going deep underwater, Louis, it's all controlled by a Bluetooth Logitech $20 controller? What? What? Like, that would be red flag number 1. No, Louis? Would you be cool and comfortable seeing what you're seeing already to go down to the wreck site of Titanic?
Dude, this is nothing. Wait till you get to further your video. That's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous and morbid. I don't know how this is even legal to operate.
Just to be clear, like some people are mad at me thinking I'm like trying to laugh and make light of this. No, I feel for these people. At the same time, we got to get this anger at this site. Like, I'm all for exploring, but why are you bringing in customers who are not equipped for this to be going on this dangerous journey? Why do we allow this? Like, if you want to go put yourself at risk and your crew at risk for the sake of research, which is what you're allowed to do down there, Louis, you're not allowed to visit the Titanic wreckage site unless it's research. And they call these customers research assistants or some dumb term to try to get a loophole so they can all go down there. And I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. I'm mad at this guy.
If you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right.
Well, what does the green button do? What about the yellow button? There's like 10 buttons on there, dude. Like, what this was really the best and thought you thought was the best way to do this?
Go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case.
Oh, it's super durable, but we keep a couple spares. Good use of spare. Yeah, we have a bunch of Bluetooths. Let's reconnect the Bluetooth all these feet down under. My God.
This is the 2nd year we've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions. We did about 10 dives to the wreck site of the Titanic, and we did an extra dive on an undiscovered reef that we found. Completely privately funded operation, and we're funded by, we call mission specialists who help support the mission. So they take quite a bit of money to come and join us. Years ago, the Russians took tourists out to the Titanic, and it was just sort of a look and see thing. We really are focusing on the science around it. We want to document what.
All right, so knowing TikTok clips that do it. We have one more clip, the one that you're talking about. Here we go.
Experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Where do I sign?
Now, this was a special report made a few months ago about a team of reporters that went and did this and documented the journey. They went down, had bad weather conditions, etc. The thing went south. Didn't work. They had to bring them back up. They went down again, and then they got lost. All this was documented, and then on the third attempt, they did get to go down and see the wreckage site with the crew intact. But the journalist himself was there documenting this. Like, what?
Take your shoes off. That's customary.
Okay. Wow. Inside, the sub has about as much room as a minivan.
So this is not your grandfather's submersible. We only have one button. That's it. It should be like an elevator. You know, it shouldn't take a lot of skill.
The Titan is the only 5-person sub in the world that can reach Titanic depths, 2.4 miles below the sea. It's also the only one with a toilet, sort of. And yet, I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components. I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on!
It's not funny now. It's just all this is coming to light because this is just so scary, man. There's a whole documentary. We're going to watch that more of this in the longer show. But I wanted you guys to get a little bit of a gist of why people are so now unnerved about this. You're going all these miles underneath in the depths of the ocean on Bluetooth. Dude, I can't even keep my car Bluetooth connected, Lewis. Like, this is mind-boggling. And again, I feel for this, especially the son of the rich guy who's on there. It's just like, I just can't believe this company was able to put these lives at risk. Like, at the same time, these people who went, including the kid, he's not a kid, he's 19 years old. They all we saw the contract there, Lewis. They all knew exactly what they were going into and the risks that faced them. So it's a frustrating thing because I know a lot of people are getting connected to the story and they're feeling sympathy and all this. And I do. I feel for the families. At the same time, I'm kind of annoyed by this story because I'm like, what were you guys thinking? Why were you going under there? What were you doing? And I, the only comment I made earlier, which got me some flack by some, but I think more of you agreed, just the irony of this. You have like all these rich people, $250,000 a ticket. A billionaire was on this, right? These people going down for this ticket to go see the wreckage of the Titanic, which some people fact checked me on it, but truth be, whatever it is known for, the rich jumping in the lifeboats while the, lower class was left sort of to drown with the boat. It's just it's just so weird to me, this fascination, especially of the upper class, these rich people of $250,000 to just throw down for a ticket to go see a very small cloudy window. It's super pitch black. I've seen the James Cameron documentary when we went down. It's just there's no light down there and you can't see them. You have some lights on your ship, so you only really get to see a little bit as much as the light on your ship will show in front of you. But this is mind blowing. So yeah, they went down and apparently pretty quickly within the mission, they lost touch. Apparently it was sending text messages back and forth and then it stopped and then they lost their way. I'm sorry, Lewis, how on earth are you allowed to go down underwater like this? And I understand you might not have a whole other ship ready, but not have better protocols or tested out the texting or an air tag, something that is designed and fail-proof to at least know if things go south, we can at least locate where you went. They got nothing, it seems. And now the world's going nuts and they're like, why aren't you looking? Go find them, go find them. Lewis, this water is endless. It's like you can't see it from a top. They could be floating up for all we know, and they could be fine. Like there are so many scenarios here that we could break down and talk about that it's really crazy to like even think about it. And so the Coast Guard went and did a press conference. We'll play a little bit in that second. In fact, I'll go grab that. But Lewis, thoughts on all this as I've now recapping everybody who's watching. Where's your head at as you see this? Do you think this is I don't want to be morbid on this. Do you think it's likely we're going to find these survivors?
Ouch. Ouch. As of a couple hours ago, I think that oxygen is probably run out, man. But I was listening to a few experts, and they said that we have more, as human beings, we have more experience in outer space than we do actually that deep into the water. They were facing about 6,000 pounds of pressure on that little submarine. There's a lot of thoughts here, man. For $250,000, couldn't they get a military grade retired, submarine to take them down there or something? Not this like, it looks, man, I don't know what it looks like. Dude, I hate to say it, looks like a refrigerator going underwater with a propeller and a couple cables. That's what it looks like.
And a Logitech controller. A few of them, apparently.
I hate to say it, the Logitech's probably the most sophisticated thing on that boat.
You're not wrong there. It's true.
Yeah,
it's probably depressingly true.
Yeah. So, I mean, and look, we're calling it out because dumb decisions need to be called out so it doesn't happen again. Okay. This was not smart. This was the kid, man. Come on, man. This is just even morbid to think about. I am so, man. And there's not that many, I don't even think we have manned ships that could do that could go all the way down there. They're sending probes. Yeah. So people are confirming 600 pounds of pure pressure on every inch. And the thing's like a refrigerator in your regular kitchen.
Yeah. It's bizarre. And we got a lot more to go through, guys. There's a lot. So OceanGate has put out a statement. We are exploring and mobilizing all options to bring the crew back safely. Our entire focus is on the crew members and the submersible and their families. We are deeply thankful for the extensive assistance we have received from several governments, agencies, and deep sea companies in our efforts to reestablish contact with the submersible. We are working towards the return of our safe crew members. Now, the sad reality, though, is here over on News Nation, we had, who was this who came on? OceanGate advisor David Concannon says experts and assets to help have been hung up due to paperwork.
OceanGate, he's helping with the search and recovery operation. He was actually supposed to be the expert on the dive yesterday, but a client emergency kept him on shore. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Destination
appreciate it. So what do we know?
And we have a ship off Newfoundland that is ready to take them to the site. We need to move. We do not have minutes or hours. We need to move now.
Wait, but why are they sitting? Explain to us, why are they not flying immediately and getting there?
Paperwork.
Really?
Paperwork. Really, that's why I came on your show. I rejected your interview request all day because I was working this problem, but then we got to the situation where we needed to move. So I'm talking to you tonight because we need to move. I don't want to see out of office replies on emails. I want decisions made. We have people whose lives are at stake. We have to move. We have assets that are ready to go, and they're sitting and waiting.
What's the paperwork, though? I mean, is it government paperwork or is it private paperwork? I mean, because you would think that if it's a paperwork issue, at the least you take the flight, you get them ready to go, right? And then you wait for the paperwork to be signed. But you're telling us they're not even flying yet.
It's government. It's government. Private sector moves very, very, very quickly. Public does not.
Wow.
And listen, I don't want to disparage the government officials that are helping because they're doing their jobs, but we need to do it quicker. The private sector is ready. They've been ready for hours. They said yes the minute we contacted them. And I have had about 90 minutes sleep in 2 days. 3 in the morning, my time, on the phone. Yes. What do you need? Yes. We'll put everyone on it. Yes. They're on the tarmac. I sent you photos. They're ready to go. I don't need an out-of-office reply from the U.S. Navy or someone else saying, sorry, I'll be back on the 23rd. That will be too late. We need this to go now.
Very quickly, if you...
Yeah, so he goes on to explain that was why he literally shows up to this interview, because it's paperwork. And so that's what's so scary about this, because you have to go to the outside people, the James Camerons of the world, realistically, Lewis, right? To like get the stuff that can actually even do this, because this type of technology doesn't exist yet. Look, I'm all for going under and doing this research and getting it right. Like we should learn as much as we can, outer space and the ocean, but they need to go outside, and then it's being hung up because of paperwork. And honestly, it's like, should it cost tax dollars? I don't even know. Like, that's a whole nother argument, Lewis. You know, like, these people knew what they signed up for. What are we supposed to do? To go spend billions of dollars to go find people that couldn't put together, that decided to go down in a tin can in the wall? It's just, I got a lot of thoughts on this, and I'm confused by it. And what do you do? I don't know what you do. You go to OceanGate and say, you didn't have contingencies for this? Like, do the people who went on board, were you very clear on that? Like, did you tell the families? Did everybody, were they fully aware of how much of a risk this really was, is what, this comes back down to. So yeah, I'm angry. I'm not trying to make jokes or be light or not have sympathy here, but I'm angry. And then you got the press release that came in, just so I can wrap all this up so we can you guys can have this in the main video. But here he is.
Captain Jamie Frederick with the 1st Coast Guard District Response Department, which oversees search and rescue operations.
I'm going to fast forward. He gives you the gist. We're looking, we're doing the best we can. All this just felt like
a brief recap of our coordinated
him,
search efforts,
doing what he has to do, which is tell everybody we're looking.
Providing an update on current search efforts.
There's no update.
Plans for the next 24 hours. On behalf of all the men and women.
And I'm not trying to give this guy any shade. Like, it is a hard task. This is almost an impossible task, like I said in the beginning. But then as they get to questions,
600 square miles.
They sort of did the math. I'm trying to get, sorry, I thought I had this queued, but I didn't. As they're getting there, I want to give you.
So each of the ROVs, so that's kind of a vague question, right? ROVs have different capability. It's our understanding the current ROV that is deployed at the site now has some limited capability. It has a camera on board, but again, each of those is different, and we'll be gathering more information as that operation goes on through the day.
Captain, it's Tom Costello with NBC News. If your submersibles can find this sub...
Sorry, I wanted to...
And I think at this time we'll open it up and take a few questions.
Their question, anyway...
Our thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. They do the math. I think it had 96 hours based on the specs of the device and how much time they had left. And now doing the math and now doing it, today, right now where we're at, it's about 40 hours left of taping right now, according to the math and the specs of this device, that have left of breathing air for these 5 people in that thing, because they do give extra air for case, but 44 hours about remained at press time, and that was about a couple hours or hour ago. So we're a little bit over 40 hours, but approximately about 40 hours left. So time is of the essence. So we can't get locked over by paperwork. It's what the real lesson is here. But again, we got to also just get realistic here of just how hard it's going to be to find this sub. It's so dark. There's no way there. I read another thread of someone saying you could, they every once in a while be trying to hammer through the hull, but you'd have to have a device and be right over their area at the same time because of the way the sound would travel underwater. It's just, there's so many different sounds and noises and creaks in the ocean that it just doesn't work. And again, that's why I'm angry, guys. Lewis, I want to get to you because it's like 40 hours of air, 40 hours of calm air. These people have to be panicking. I got a whole breakdown of a thread I'm going to break down to you to really give you sort of an idea of what this is like. This is a terrifying breakdown of what it's probably like in there. But I'm just mad. Like, how do you put these people in this tin can going underwater and not ensure that there's at least some device to locate it? I would think if we're going to do underwater travel in the future, we got to at least perfect the air tag of the ocean. You know what I mean? There has to be some way in space we can track these, spaceships. We can even communicate to them unless they go behind the moon. But you're telling me we can't create a device that can be tracked 2 miles under the ocean? It's just hard for me to believe given all the technologies we have. Does that surprise you?
No, man, because the oceans, man, that thing is, they'll dominate human beings. Water, don't underestimate water, dude. I heard also some experts saying that the last time they were able to communicate with the submarine was right above the Titanic, or like on top. They thought it was on top of it, but there's some people saying that it may be stuck inside the Titanic. Have you heard that theory?
Yeah, I've heard that theory, yeah.
That is scary stuff, man. And look, why we were talking about for science and discovery, what do we have to know about the Titanic? It sank. I think we know everything. This is sightseeing. This was all for sightseeing. There's no scientific benefit that I could think of looking at the Titanic in such a small submarine. What's the benefit? I mean, man, you got to respect that place too, man. It's a respect the dead of the original Titanic. Now look what happened. It's really effed up.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like-
that's a whole nother debate, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
People aren't supposed to be going down there in the site. It's illegal unless it's for research. And I'm sorry, this isn't research.
This is not
Now,
research.
They're raising funds to be able to do the proper research. I do get that part of it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you got to get some big donors to like support this research, because as you watch this full thing, like they're not making money on this project. They're the fuel alone costs more than even the tickets apparently. So like this is all for the love of the ocean and trying to do the research. I do believe that to an extent, but you can't put people under until you know, like they fully understand the risks, and to not have some sort of geotag. Because I agree with you, the water's scary, man. And in fact, I want to go through a thread. What's more dangerous? They asked a lot of astronauts and really smarter people than us, what's more dangerous, the ocean or space? And we're gonna go through that too. But yeah, this is just terrifying. In fact, let's go through this thread. I'll leave this little clip here, and then we'll go to more comments and some more updates as we stay live. But here, this guy Charles puts together a really good breakdown, and be warned, it gets a little intense. This is what these people are in for. So again, I don't mean to make light of this. This is horrifying, what you're about to hear, of just the reality of what's going to happen. Imagine being trapped in something the size of a minivan. Imagine it's pitch black. The air is thick because you and 4 others have been breathing the same air for hours. You're trapped under 15,000 feet of water. It's cold because there's no power. Condensation everywhere. You can get up and move. In fact, I'm going to read this while you guys are looking at this footage so you can properly understand what's happening in here. You can't get up and move around because of the cramped space, and even if you could, it would just use more oxygen while you have a limited supply on hand. No contact with the outside. Every now and again, you hear the creaking of the hull caused by the tremendous pressure. Somewhere miles and miles away, a submarine on patrol picks up a faint hammering on their sonar, but it doesn't correspond to any contact near them. It's the ocean playing tricks. Water density differences make sounds underwater to strange things. Some people have already become physically ill, and now the stink of vomit, pee, and doo-doo is added to the air. You look at the viewing port in the bow and see water dripping down in streams. You've been told it's condensation and not seawater, so it's nothing to worry about. You have limited food and water. You have a head because the CO2 is building up. The CO2 scrubbers aren't working as well as they should. It could be the humidity, the condensation that is cutting down the CO2 removal efficiency. The air reeks of BO and other stuff. Now you're questioning the people in charge. You were told the submarine was safe, and if anything went wrong, all the pilot had to do was throw a couple switches and the submarine would surface. Every eventuality in hand, but here you are in the dark on the bottom. You feel the terror rising, and as you realize that there is that this is probably it. Limited air, limited space, limited water, limited food, and absolutely zero chance of escape. You can't get out of this thing, guys. It's only sealed through the entry. Limited food, absolutely zero chance of escape. Your fate depends on the outside world, and it's obvious they don't know where you are. The submarine pilot reassures you that everything is going to be okay and just sit tight, but the look on their face whenever light is available lets you know that they are just as frightened. The mood has shifted from optimism long ago. Everyone is anxious. Every so often, the pilot taps on the hull with a hammer. He's sending out Morse code, hoping someone picks up on a sonar and will hone in on it. He doesn't realize the different thermal and salinity layers refract the sound waves and don't make it to the surface ships above. I mean, that's scary stuff, Lewis. That is some scary stuff. So again, this isn't funny. I'm not trying to make light. They're rich people, whatever. They're still human beings. Of course they matter. But I mean, what on earth were you thinking putting this and beyond the people who did this choice, which they made the choice, this OceanGate place, like F you. Like, how do you do this and not have proper protocols or things following or safety measures to ensure if you're putting civilians in these crafts that you can at least locate them? Because what's so awful is too, we may never find this vessel. This vessel could be long gone, floating somewhere. We have no idea where, how. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we find it and everyone celebrates and these people get out and they have a story to tell. I want nothing more than that. Let's be clear. But the sad reality, based on everything I'm reading by experts, this ship is it could already have had a breach, in which case it's over. Water breach. There's so many things that could go wrong that have now gone wrong. And now that we can't find them with 40 hours left on the clock, this is a death sentence with as the scenario we just picked, and I'm sure there's even more we can't even process. This is terrifying. We are going to stay live with more updates. We got lots more for you. If you're watching though just now, I want to do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We'll give you alerts on this as it comes. And we're going to stay here for a little while to see if anything comes in while we're live. There are some tips I saw over on WFLA and more coming. Every minute counts. Hopefully I'm wrong here, Lewis. Hopefully we find these people alive. I want that, nothing more. But we're going to go through who's on this ship, learn more about this OceanGate and what's happening here on Popcorn Planet.